Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. It's Barb with BozeOnEdge. Today we're going to listen to several different stories about parents who behead their children. So if you have any type of trigger for something like that, you may want to go ahead and skip on out of the video. But like I said, it's several on parents who behead their children, and then there was one where it was actually a daughter who was forced to dismember her brother. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get on it. And we're starting with 28-year-old Andriy Dembski, and he's accused of using a knife to sever his son's head inside his home while his wife and her mother waited outside for law enforcement to show up. Deputies responded to the family's home at 4:15 in the morning. When they arrived, they learned that Andrei had assaulted his mother-in-law and his wife. Andrei refused to surrender to deputies after they learned a 1-year-old child was inside the home with him. Law enforcement forced their way into the home where Andrei was uncooperative and was physically resistive. As deputies took him into custody, they made the gruesome discovery of a child's severed head. Detectives determined that Andrei murdered his son after his wife and mother-in-law left the home. Andrei was arrested and charged with murder, assault by means of force likely to cause great bodily injury, and corporal injury to a spouse. Amar Gandhi, a spokesperson for the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, described the beheading as one of the most horrific things he has seen in his decades-long career. He said, "For this family who has just got to pick up the pieces and go on, their world is shattered." He noted that authorities were visibly shaken and will have the case in their hearts and minds for the rest of their careers and beyond. A GoFundMe campaign was organized by Lil Eric to help the family, and it read, "The sweet little boy was a kind and joyful soul, loving all people and especially dogs. His kind heart and beautiful smile warmed the hearts of everyone he came in contact with. He loved his family and especially his mama. He loved being with family, going to the park, singing hymns with family. And if you have it in your heart to help our family in this difficult time, please keep us in your prayers. If you're able to help financially, may God bless you threefold. If you are not able to help financially, please pray for the Dembski-Vinnikov families." So next we have a woman who did the deed. A 40-some-year-old woman on the island of Guadalupe, believed to have decapitated her 2 small children, had to be tasered by police and was admitted into a psychiatric hospital after she was found wandering the streets naked and singing. Okay. The bodies of the mutilated 4-year-old and 13-month-old siblings were found in a bathtub in their home by their father around 3:25 a.m. Children's father, who had just returned home from work, alerted emergency services, which was when police found the woman in a state of delirium. They reported that the woman was speaking incoherently, was able to explain the reasons for her actions when approached by cops. The mother was initially taken into custody and then released due to their mental state and was hospitalized. The police have opened a murder investigation, but further details have not been disclosed. A bladed weapon was discovered at the scene of the murders. Meanwhile, the father had to be treated by emergency services as he was in a state of shock. A close source said the woman's husband called police before dawn after discovering the bodies of the children. So we're going to move on, and again, this was a mother. So a mother was charged in the killings of her 2 children who were found decapitated in Southern California. 44-year-old Natalie Brothwell, who has been living in Arizona, was arrested at her Tucson home for the grisly death of their 12-year-old son Maurice and 13-year-old daughter Malika. Natalie was being extradited to California. And the children's father, Marcus Taylor Sr., had already been arrested for the slayings of his children on November 29, 2021. Maurice Sr., a personal trainer, also allegedly forced his 2 surviving children to live alongside their older siblings' bodies for 5 days. Those poor kids. I can't even imagine the trauma that they went through, not only at that time, but I'm pretty sure they're still experiencing some trauma, some PTSD. Natalie was charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of felony child endangerment. Her alleged role in the crime was not immediately clear. Maurice was charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of child abuse. The Los Angeles County Fire Department responded to a report of a possible gas leak at the Maurice's home after receiving a call from one of Maurice's clients who previously said she was worried after Maurice failed to send a Zoom link for a scheduled training session. Authorities said the killings took place on November 29th and their bodies were on display in the family home. They were found dead on December 4th, and the 2 surviving children were kept in their rooms without food. Ay, 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 ay. People. My face is so itchy today. Sorry, guys. Okay, it's been approximately 10 years since the 3 Brownsville children were murdered by their mother, Angela Camacho, and her common-law husband, John Allen Rubio. The community honored the children in a memorial outside the building where they were kids. The district attorney, Louise Sands, hosted the memorial. Residents said they still get chills when thinking back on the night of the murders. They want the building where it happened torn down so it could bring some kind of closure. It wasn't easy for Minerva Perez to share her account of the night of March 14, 2003. Just steps to her home. We couldn't understand what Allen Rubio did to those kids. The 3 children were beheaded by their own mother, Angela Camacho, and her common-law husband, John Allen Rubio. Their remains were found in plastic bags inside an apartment in this building, with Rubio and Camacho still in the apartment, claiming they had been possessed by demonic spirits to kill the children. It's very hard. There were a lot of people. There were a lot of screaming that it couldn't happen at the Imperial. Alejandro Mendoza remembers he once saw Allen Rubio pick up one of the children by the throat because he was crying. He said the night of the murders, police asked to go to his backyard where his dogs were, fearing a gruesome scene. They wanted to see what the dogs were eating because they thought Allen and Angela had possibly thrown out the kids' bodies to the dogs to get rid of evidence. It's those horrific memories that haunt neighbors here, and although abandoned, the building where the murders happened still stands and is a constant reminder of the tragedy for these neighbors, and there's only one solution. I think it's time for them to tear it down because there's a lot of people that go into that building that don't respect it. I think it's time for the mayor to do something now that Rubio is sentenced to death and Camacho to 3 life terms. City officials are looking to tear it down and building a memorial park. So we have one more, where a woman was forced to dismember her adopted brother. I don't know how people have that kind of control over other people. An adoptive mother in North Carolina became a murderer to her adopted daughter, 28-year-old London Devon and 17-year-old Blake Devon. Law enforcement states she enlisted one of her adopted daughters to dismember her adopted son. In June 2024, 63-year-old Avante Devon was charged with 2 counts each of murder in the first degree and concealment of death and felony child abuse. 1 count of kidnapping in relation to the deaths of Blake and London. First-degree murder is the most serious homicide offense and is defined by an intentional, unlawful killing that is both premeditated and willful. It involves malice, aforethought, and the killer must have the specific intent to end a human life. And felony child abuse is a crime that can include attempted murder, felonious or aggravated assault, felony domestic violence, child abuse, or child endangerment. Abuse that causes physical harm or substantial pain is usually charged as a felony, as is neglect or sexual abuse that significantly endangers the child's health or welfare. The investigation began with a 911 call in November when one of Avante's children told police he had not seen Blake in 5 years. During the investigation, authorities learned of the disappearance of another child from the same household, identified as London. Another member of the Devon family has come forward with grim and gruesome claims about the role she played. Obtained is a shocking April 2022 phone call that someone admits to helping dismember the body of Blake Devon. They state, "She literally had me buy a effing trash can and dude to effing keep him in there for a month. I had to watch his effing body burn. It's been on my effing mind and I don't know what the F to do." In the recording, the caller reveals how the boy allegedly died. She starved him so much that she killed him, and then she didn't call an ambulance. She didn't call police, and she didn't try to make up a story to tell them, "Oh, he passed away." Cheris Devon has since identified herself as the voice on that chilling phone call. In a recent interview, she said she recalled being 16 or 17 years old when her adoptive mother allegedly forced her to dismember her brother. However, in the original recording, she said she was 18 at the time. She was asked how her mother allegedly forced her into complying with the unlawful request, and she said, "There was no asking. There was just, you do it. You are doing it. If you're not, you're getting in trouble. I'm sitting there as a young child just thinking, oh my God, what do I do?" No charges have been filed against her, and that any such law enforcement action is unlikely. She says, "It disgusts me that I can live with myself knowing what I have seen and what I have done, because someone led me on and forced me to do something as a child myself. I've been going through hell, and I'm tired. It got to the point where I was hiding dog food in the vents just to eat because I was that hungry." Investigators believe Blake was abused, starved to the point of torture, and that eventually his young body simply gave out. Law enforcement said, "We believe he was mentally abused and starved. His body could not sustain the inhumane treatment." During interviews, police learned the alleged appalling conditions of the home. Avante Devon is said to have kept them in small rooms in complete darkness at times. They were given little to no food, and they can earn nourishment by, quote, "doing paperwork." That means they had to write hundreds of paragraphs to apologize for their behavior. Avante would hit the children with curtain rods, lock them in a bathroom, and there were times they were beaten so badly they needed medical attention. Then, Avante developed a plan to hide Blake's remains. She forced someone else in the household to participate. Blake was last seen alive in 2017, when he was 10 years old, and London was a teenager when she died and had special needs that necessitated a caregiver. Both of their remains were found inside a barrel. Cherish recently said to her mother, "You told me that you were my mother, and you told me that you loved me. You told me that you would be there for me, and you never were." Avante Devon adopted 5 children in total, 3 boys biologically related to one another, and 2 girls neither related to the boys or each other. While investigating multiple homes the family have lived in, officers found remains at multiple residences. However, I have not been able to find any additional evidence to guys, do me a favor. Put your thoughts and comments down below of what you think about these stories. I know they're disgusting. I don't know how a parent can go ahead and do something so as awful as this. It's, I mean, even the thought of why you would kill your child, but then to behead them or dismember them in any other way is disgusting. There's something totally wrong with you. If you haven't already done so, guys, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out tremendously. And if you would, please hit the thumbs up button and then that notification bell so you know the next time I upload a video. And until next time, guys, peace.